Welcome to World Rare Coins, the ultimate place where small change turns into big treasure. If you love rare and valuable US coins, you're in the right spot. Let's uncover the hidden gems hiding in your pocket change.
Top 1. Today we're talking about the United States 5-cent piece from 1943. Yes, the 1943 nickel, but not just any 1943 nickel. This coin has an extraordinary tale of rarity, error, and immense value that every serious collector should know. If you love coins and hidden treasures, listen closely and enjoy this video, because what I'm about to share might just blow your mind. Back in 1943, the world was in the middle of World War II, and the United States was doing everything it could to support the war effort. One of the many things impacted was coinage metals. Nickel, a critical metal used in weapons and machinery, was suddenly off limits for coin production. The U.S. Mint had to get creative to keep coins circulating without using the precious nickel. So, in 1942, they switched to an unusual composition for the 5-cent coin. Instead of the usual copper-nickel blend, the 1943 nickels were made from an alloy of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. These war nickels shine with a distinctive silver-gray color and are relatively common since millions were minted from 1942 through 1945. But here's where it gets fascinating: among these millions, a few have unique errors and traits that make them incredibly rare and valuable. First, let's talk about the mint mark. During this war period, the Philadelphia Mint didn't place a mint mark on coins, but the San Francisco and Denver mints did, an S and D, respectively, just above the Dome of Monticello on the reverse side. Errors related to mint marks, such as missing or doubled mint marks, can significantly increase a coin's rarity and worth. One of the rarest and most intriguing errors is the 1943 no mint mark San Francisco coin, a stunning anomaly that baffles collectors to this day. Normally, San Francisco coins from this year should have an S mint mark, but a few appear without it. This kind of mint mark omission is incredibly rare and sought after. Another eye-catching error is the double die 1943 nickel, where the coin shows a doubling of letters or numbers, often on the date or the word Liberty. These striking visual distortions are not only fascinating to study but also make a coin significantly more valuable due to their rarity. Now, let's consider condition, the golden rule in coin collecting. Even if you have a rare error, the coin's grade or condition plays a massive role in its value. A well-preserved 1943 nickel with minimal wear, strong luster, and sharp details can command a price exponentially higher than a heavily circulated example. Uncirculated or mint state coins are the holy grail for collectors. Here's an interesting fact: some 1943 nickels were accidentally struck on the wrong planchets, specifically, copper planchets intended for pennies. These errors are extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars. The silver content of the war nickel itself adds to its appeal. Unlike regular nickels, which have no silver, the 1943 coin's silver alloy gives it a unique weight and appearance. This blend was only used for a few years, making these nickels an exciting chapter in American coinage history. Collectors today are hunting for these coins like gold. It's not just the metal or the date, it's the story, the error, and the scarcity that drive up demand. Imagine holding a piece of history that not only shows the ingenuity of a nation at war but also carries a rare imperfection that sets it apart from millions of others. Now, for the moment many of you have been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to find a 1943 5-cent coin with one of these rare errors or in pristine, uncirculated condition, its value could be staggering. We're talking about an eye-popping $94,000, yes, you heard that right, $94,000 for a single 1943 nickel. So next time you dig through your coin collection or come across a dusty old jar of change, remember the story of the 1943 war nickel. It's not just a small piece of metal, it's a rare slice of history and a potential treasure waiting to be discovered. Top 2. We're diving deep into the incredible world of rare coins, and not just any coin, but one that could be hiding in plain sight. It's a coin most people wouldn't even think twice about. It's small, simple, and you've probably seen it dozens of times. I'm talking about the United States 5-cent coin from the year 1972. Now you might be thinking, 1972? That's not that long ago. There must be millions of those coins out there. But what if I told you that within those millions, a few rare specimens exist that are so unique, so rare, and so valuable, that they can sell for a price that will leave you speechless? That's right, so stay tuned, listen carefully, and enjoy this journey into the mystery of the 1972 nickel. Because if you're a collector, or even just someone with a coin jar collecting dust at home, what you learn today might just turn ordinary change into a small fortune. Let's begin with the basics. The 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, has been in circulation since 1938. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the front of the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, while the reverse side shows his historic home, Monticello. In 1972, the U.S. Mint produced these nickels in massive quantities. Over 300 million nickels were struck that year from the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. So you might wonder, how can something made in such large numbers be worth anything more than 5 cents? Well, the answer lies in rarity, condition, and error. Not all 1972 nickels are created equal. Among the hundreds of millions produced, a very small number contain minting errors, some subtle, some dramatic, that elevate these coins from everyday change to collector's treasure. Let's talk about a few of these errors that make the 1972 nickel especially interesting and incredibly valuable. Point 1 of the most sought-after varieties is the 1972 double die nickel. This happens when the coin is struck by a die that was engraved with a doubled design. You'll notice the doubling most clearly on the inscriptions. Look closely at the words, Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, or the date, 1972. The letters will appear as if they have a shadow or echo, almost like they've been printed twice. To a trained eye, or even a curious one, this is a dead giveaway of a double die. Now here's the amazing part, there are different classes of doubling, and some are so subtle they go unnoticed. Others are dramatic and incredibly obvious. The stronger the doubling, the higher the value. A clear and well-preserved double die from 1972 is one of the most prized finds in the world of Jefferson nickels. Another error that makes certain 1972 nickels stand out is the off-center strike. This is when the coin wasn't perfectly aligned in the press during minting, and part of the design is missing or shifted. The more off-center the strike, while still leaving the date visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some of these off-center 1972 nickels have fetched hundreds and even thousands of dollars. Then there's the rare and highly collectible wrong planchet error. This happens when a nickel is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a penny or even a foreign coin. A 1972 nickel struck on a copper planchet instead of the usual cupronickel blend is not only rare but highly desirable. It's a mistake that should have never happened, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. Collectors love these kinds of errors because they represent a 1-in-a-million minting mistake, something that defied the system, broke the rules, and somehow made its way into circulation. It's like holding a little accident of history in your hand. Now let's talk about condition, because it matters a lot. That if you're holding a 1972 nickel that's been rolling around in pockets for the last 50 years, chances are it's seen better days. Scratches, dings, discoloration, all of these things reduce a coin's value. But if you happen to find one that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, with sharp details, clean surfaces, and no signs of wear, especially if it contains one of the rare errors we've just talked about, then you might just be looking at something incredible. These coins are graded by professional services on a scale from 1 to 70, with coins graded MS 65 and above considered premium quality. Coins with high grades and confirmed mint errors skyrocket in value, because they are the best of the best. And for collectors, that's what it's all about. Imagine being the lucky person who finds one of these rare 1972 nickels. Maybe it's been sitting in a drawer for decades, or maybe it just came back in your change after buying a coffee. Either way, it's out there, waiting to be discovered. Now, I know you've been patiently waiting for the most exciting part. So here it is. If you are fortunate enough to find a 1972 United States 5-cent coin with a major minting error, in immaculate, uncirculated condition, especially a bold double die or a dramatic off-center strike, it could be worth an astonishing $91,000. That's right, $91,000 for a coin that started its life worth just 5 cents. And that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's not just about the money. It's about the history, the the hunt, the story behind every coin. Each one has passed through thousands of hands, each with its own journey, its own past. But once in a while, a rare piece appears, something that slipped through the cracks, unnoticed by the world, until someone like you discovers its true value. So the next time you're sorting through your change, or flipping through that old coin album you haven't touched in years, keep an eye out for the 1972 nickel. Look for doubling, off-center designs, or anything unusual. You never know what you might find. Top 3. We're going to dive into a coin that you might have overlooked, one that may be sitting quietly in your change jar, your drawer, or perhaps even in your pocket right now. It's a coin that seems ordinary to most people, until you know the secrets behind it. We're talking about the United States 5-cent coin from the year 1984, the humble Jefferson nickel. But don't let its simplicity fool you. This coin holds a mystery, a secret history of errors and rare variations that have collectors across the country on high alert. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just loves discovering rare finds, make sure you listen closely and stay with us until the very end. Because you're about to learn how this small, everyday coin could be worth far, far more than 5 cents. In fact, it might be worth a life-changing sum. Stick around and I'll tell you exactly how much. Let's go back to 1984. Ronald Reagan was president, the Cold War was still going strong, and the world of American coinage was shifting into a new era. The U.S. Mint, as always, was striking millions of coins to keep up with national circulation. That year alone, hundreds of millions of 5-cent coins were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. So yes, the 1984 nickel is common, at least at first glance, but within those hundreds of millions, there exist rare errors and unique variants that transform this everyday coin into a collector's dream. And that's where the story gets interesting. The 1984 Jefferson nickel, like most from this era, features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side. This classic design has been used for decades, showing Jefferson facing left, with the word "Liberty," the year of mintage, and the phrase, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, you'll find the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, along with the words "E pluribus unum" and "United States of America." But what if I told you that something went wrong with some of these coins during production? Not in a bad way, but in the best way possible for collectors. One of the most valuable types of error on the 1984 nickel is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck by a die that has been engraved twice, slightly misaligned. The result? Letters and numbers appear doubled, especially noticeable in words like "Liberty" or in the date, 1984. This doubling isn't always obvious, but when it's bold and clear, collectors go absolutely wild for it. Now imagine finding a 1984 nickel where the doubling is unmistakable, with strong separation visible to the naked eye. That's not just a cool find, it's a jackpot, but that's not the only rare error that exists for this coin. Another variation to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a coin that is partially blank or with the design shifted off the center. The more off-center the strike, while still keeping the date visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Off-center 1984 nickels with a high percentage of the design missing and sharp detail can bring in serious money from the right buyer, and then there's the ultra-rare wrong planchet error. Yes, that's right. In rare cases, coins are mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal blank, like one meant for a penny or even a foreign coin. A 1984 nickel struck on a 1-cent copper planchet, for example, would be both lighter and a different color, and insanely valuable due to its rarity. There have also been reported instances of die cracks, clipped planchets, and broad strikes from this year. While these may not be as dramatic as a double die, they still hold considerable interest for collectors who specialize in mint errors. But here's something most people miss: condition matters more than you think. If you find a 1984 nickel with one of these errors but it's scratched, discolored, or heavily circulated, it's still a great find, but it won't bring top dollar. But if you find one in uncirculated or near mint condition, the value increases dramatically. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services are the true gold standard. A sharp strike, full steps on the Monticello building, and strong luster all contribute to top-tier grading. now let's take a moment to appreciate why this excites collectors so much. Coin collecting isn't just about metal and mint marks, it's about discovery. It's about finding a coin that defied the system, a small piece of history that slipped through unnoticed. And when you find a coin that's not only in error but also in pristine condition, you're holding something that very few people on this planet will ever see. Collectors chase these rare coins for years. Some go decades without ever holding one in person. And that's why the market for them is so strong. Rare, valuable nickels like the 1984-era coins get scooped up quickly and added to high-end collections or even sold at auction houses to the highest bidder. So, if you've got old change lying around, or you're browsing through coin rolls from the bank, don't overlook the nickels. Especially not the ones from 1984. Examine the date. Look closely at the letters. Use a magnifying glass if you have to. Check for any signs of doubling, off-center strikes, strange colors, or incorrect metal weight. If anything looks unusual, hold on to it, because now, we've reached the moment you've all been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to find a 1984 United States 5-cent coin with a rare minting error, such as a bold double die, off-center strike, or wrong planchet, and it is in mint state or uncirculated condition, it could be worth an astonishing $88,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $88,000. From a 5-cent coin. So before you toss that old nickel aside, take a second look. It could be the most valuable coin you've ever held. Top 4. We're about to explore something that may seem completely ordinary at first glance, the United States 5-cent coin from the year 1991. Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly be special about a 1991 nickel? It's not ancient, it's not made of gold, and there were millions minted. But let me tell you, hidden among those millions are a few rare examples that are turning heads in the coin collecting world. These aren't just coins, they are mistakes, mysteries, and marvels, and some of them are worth far, far more than you'd ever expect. So sit back, listen closely, and enjoy this video, because by the time we're done, you may find yourself rummaging through your old change, hoping to find one of these incredible hidden gems. Let's begin with the basics. The 5-cent coin in question, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1938. The 1991 edition features the classic left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by artist Felix Schlag, with the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1991, elegantly arranged. The reverse showcases the familiar image of Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home in Virginia, along with the inscriptions, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. On the surface, it's a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice. But as any experienced collector knows, the true value of a coin lies in the details, and with the 1991 nickel, those details can make the difference between 5 cents and a fortune. In 1991, the United States Mint produced Jefferson nickels at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The total mintage was in the hundreds of millions, which makes this a very common coin, but within that mass production, a handful of rare minting errors occurred, and those rare mistakes are where the magic happens. One of the most exciting errors collectors look for in 1991 nickels is the double die. This error occurs when a die used to strike the coins has a doubled image, meaning the coin will show slight, sometimes dramatic, duplications in the lettering or numbers. Look carefully at the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the numbers in the date, 1991. If the edges of those letters look like they have shadows or are slightly repeated, you might be holding a double die, and that's a huge deal. These coins are rare because double die errors are difficult to detect during quality control at the mint. They often slip through unnoticed and end up in circulation. Some are subtle, and some are dramatic, but either way, collectors love them, and pay top dollar for them. Another rare and valuable error to watch for in the 1991 nickel is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned in the press, causing the design to appear shifted or partially missing. An off-center strike of about 10% to 20% is interesting, but when the strike is 40% or more off-center, and the date is still visible, collectors go wild. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if the coin is in excellent condition. There's also a lesser-known but incredibly rare error from this year, the wrong planchet error. Imagine a 5-cent coin being struck not on a nickel blank, but on a copper penny blank or even on a foreign coin blank. The size might be right, but the color, weight, or thickness would be off. These are minting anomalies that should never happen, and that's what makes them so special. A 1991 nickel on the wrong planchet is not just a coin, it's a conversation piece, a one-in-a-million mistake that could be worth thousands. Another highly collectible feature, though not an error, is known as full steps. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello's steps are often weakly struck due to the design. But if you have a coin where all 5 or 6 steps are visible and well-defined, especially with no wear, you've got what collectors call a full steps Jefferson nickel. Combine that with a mint error, and you're looking at a real treasure. Now, let's talk about something that collectors know all too well. Condition is everything. That a coin that has been passed around, dropped, scraped, or handled without care may still be collectible if it has a rare error, but it will never fetch the same price as a coin in pristine condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS 60 and higher, mint state, being uncirculated. A 1991 nickel with a rare error in MS 65 or MS 66 condition, possibly with full steps, is the kind of coin that makes serious collectors and auction houses pay close attention. Imagine finding a coin like that, tucked away in a box, forgotten for decades. Or maybe you just get lucky and receive it as change after buying a cup of coffee. That's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know what you'll find. And that's exactly why thousands of collectors across the world are searching for the elusive rare 1991 nickel. So now comes the part you've been waiting for. The jaw-dropping moment when we reveal just how much a small, ordinary-looking coin can be worth, when all the stars align. That if you happen to come across a 1991 United States 5-cent coin with a rare mint error, such as a bold double die, a dramatic off-center strike, or a wrong planchet, and it's in near-perfect uncirculated condition, possibly with full steps detail on Monticello, then congratulations. You could be holding a coin worth an astonishing $86,000, yes, you heard that right, $86,000 for a coin that was meant to be worth just 5 cents. That's the power of rarity. That's the thrill of collecting. That's why we do this. So before you toss those nickels aside, take a closer look. Get a magnifying glass. Check for doubling, off-center designs, missing details, or unusual color. And if you find something strange, don't ignore it. It could be the most valuable 5 cents of your life. Top 5. We're diving into a modern coin that might just surprise you, the United States 5-cent piece from the year 2001. Now, I know what you're thinking. 2001 doesn't sound like an old or rare year. This isn't an antique. It's a coin from the 21st century. But don't let that fool you. Some of the most incredible finds in coin collecting come not from ancient coins, but from modern coins with rare mistakes, and the 2001 Jefferson nickel is one of those fascinating pieces. So make sure you stay with me through the end of this video, because one small detail on a coin like this could be the key to unlocking a hidden fortune. And if you're a collector, or even just someone with a pile of loose change at home, you're going to want to hear this very carefully. Let's start by talking about the coin itself. The 2001 5-cent coin features the classic image of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. His profile faces left, with the word Liberty written in his own script, the date 2001, and the motto "In God We Trust" on the obverse side. The reverse side carries the iconic image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. You'll also find the denomination, the phrase "E pluribus unum," and United States of America inscribed around the design. On the surface, this coin looks like any other nickel you've probably handled 1,000 times. But here's where things get interesting. The year 2001 is not considered historically significant for nickels, which is exactly why most people overlook it. But hidden within that year's minting run are rare and valuable errors that can turn a simple 5-cent coin into a serious payday. Let's talk about those errors, starting with the most exciting one, the double die error. This error happens during the production of the coin's dies. If the die receives a second imprint that's slightly off from the first, any coin struck by that die will show doubling on key parts of the design, usually the date, the word "Liberty," or "In God We Trust." On the 2001 nickel, there are a few known examples where this doubling is visible with the naked eye. That kind of doubling is what collectors dream of. The doubling can be subtle or dramatic, but either way, it's rare. And when you add rarity to the mix, the value of the coin starts climbing fast. Next up is the off-center strike. This is one of the most obvious minting errors, and also one of the most popular with collectors. On an off-center strike, the entire design of the coin is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank and distorting the rest of the image. The farther off-center the strike is, while still showing the full date, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 2001 nickel with a 50% off-center strike and the date still fully visible. That's a real collector's prize. The kind of find that could easily slip past someone not paying attention. But wait, there's more. Among the rarest finds are wrong planchet errors. This happens when a nickel is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another coin, such as a penny or even a foreign coin. If a 2001 nickel was struck on a copper or zinc planchet instead of the standard cupronickel blend, you would notice the color, the size, or the weight being slightly different. And guess what? That's exactly what a few sharp-eyed collectors have reported. These error coins are often unique, which makes them one of a kind, and extremely valuable. Another favorite among collectors is the broadstrike error. This happens when the coin is struck without the collar that usually holds the metal blank in place. The result is a coin that's slightly wider than normal, with missing or stretched rims. It's a striking visual and a standout in any collection. Let's not forget the holy grail for Jefferson nickels, the full steps designation. Take a close look at Monticello on the reverse. You'll see a set of steps leading up to the building. On most circulated coins, these steps are weak or worn down. But on rare nickels, especially those in uncirculated condition, the steps are fully visible and sharply struck. That's called full steps, and it significantly increases the coin's value, even more so when combined with a mint error. Now, here's where the real excitement begins. Condition that a heavily circulated 2001 nickel with an error might still be worth something. But a mint state version of that same coin? That's where values jump into the thousands. Coins graded MS65 or higher, meaning they have no signs of wear, great eye appeal, and sharp details, are the ones serious collectors and investors chase. And when a rare error coin from 2001 is also in pristine condition with full steps, that's the kind of coin that gets sent to auction. That's the kind of coin that can change someone's life. Imagine this: you've been holding onto a 2001 nickel for years without thinking twice. You flip it over one day, and something about it looks different. The lettering seems doubled. The edge feels strange. Maybe the design is off-center. You send it in for professional grading, and the results come back: mint error confirmed, condition MS66, full steps visible. At that point, you're not holding just any coin, you're holding a serious asset. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare 2001 5-cent coins be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to find one with a dramatic minting error, in uncirculated condition, with full steps on the reverse and a clean, untouched surface, you could be looking at a coin valued at a staggering $81,000, yes, $81,000 for a Jefferson nickel from 2001. A 5-cent coin that could pay off debt, buy a car, or even make a dent in a down payment on a house. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill of the hunt. And that's why we're here. So before you toss those nickels back into circulation, take a moment. Look closer. Inspect the date. Check for doubling, misstrikes, unusual coloring, or off-center details. You never know what treasure might be hiding right in front of you. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content about rare and valuable coins, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next amazing coin story. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and always check your change.